Good morning and welcome to today's Soundbite. I'd like to start by asking a question. What comes to mind when you think about the word devotion? In the workplace, and particularly where the emergency services, the medical profession and the armed forces are concerned, we often hear about devotion to duty. We also hear about sports people being devoted to their training. For example, years of preparation for the Olympic Games. If you visit a Christian bookshop or website, you'll find the devotional or daily devotions section. John chapter 12 describes an amazing act of devotion when Mary anoints Jesus' feet with about half a litre of expensive perfume. Now, in my opinion, all perfume is ridiculously expensive. So when John tells us that this was expensive, it must have cost a fortune. Verse 5 tells us it was worth a year's wages, and it's easy to read that verse and miss the impact of what it's actually saying. A year's wages on a bottle of perfume. If you're in paid employment, imagine using 1 year's salary to buy a bottle of perfume the size of a small bottle of water. Such was Mary's devotion to her Lord. And she was also incredibly humble, demonstrating her humility by wiping Jesus' feet with her hair. Mark's account of this episode tells us that some of those present objected to the wasteful extravagance and rebuked Mary harshly. In response, Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She has done a beautiful thing to me. She did what she could." And that simple phrase speaks volumes. She did what she could. We're not all famous evangelists or charismatic leaders. Mary wasn't bringing thousands to Jesus, but she did what she could. The challenge is obvious. Each of us can do what we can. Making the tea, putting the chairs out, talking to the newcomer, a word of witness to our neighbour. We can all do something. And if it's done for the Lord, he takes the same delight in us as he did in Mary. What can you do? What can I do? Satan is very subtle and can encourage us to relax in the relatively comfortable lifestyle we have in the West. Writing to the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians 11:3, Paul says, "I am afraid that just as Eve was deceived by the snake's cunning, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere and pure devotion to Christ." And in Revelation, the church in Ephesus is told, "You have forsaken the love you had at first." And the church in Sardis is told, "Wake up, strengthen what remains and is about to die, for I have found your deeds unfinished in the sight of my God." Through our quiet times or the Christian meetings we attend, the Lord may be challenging us to step out in faith and to do something beautiful for him. He may want us to step out of our comfort zone and do something that we think we're incapable of. But when we trust and obey him, we find that he gives us the grace to respond. Mary's act of devotion exemplifies the response the Lord is looking for in our lives. Are we willing to respond?
Free